Namaskar, dear devotees and friends. Today, this Sunday morning, we will be studying the Yoga Vasishtha as usual. But today I have come to Detroit, a different city. The state is also different. So we live in Chicago, that is in Illinois, and today I am in Michigan, another state, neighboring state, and Detroit is a beautiful city. And here Swami Vivekananda came many times. He lived over here for a few days. So we have a group of devotees. I came to see the new temple that they are slowly developing. So today I will give the class from here itself. So let us begin as usual. Dikkaladi anabachinna ananta chinmatra murtaye svanubhuti ekamanaya namah shantaya tejase. Friends, so we were studying this Yoga Vasishtha, where the Guru Vasishtha is giving the instructions to his disciple, Sri Ramachandra. And Sri Ramachandra, as a very intelligent student, he is listening to the Guru and asking different questions. So we are learning different things because of the questions that the Sri Ramachandra was asking him. And sometimes different stories, and sometimes he is giving the direct instruction. By that way it was going on. Now we have already studied Aho nu chitram yat satyam brahma tat vismritam nrinam yad asatyam avidya akyam tat pura paribalgati. Here it says that it is really surprising when one analyzes, one finds the eternal existence which is Brahman only existing. But how, forgetting and ignoring that, one get an associated with non-existence, the product of ignorance, this world and its objects. So this is the Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, and we are following the path of knowledge. Again and again we have to keep in mind, and I go on repeating this word, that we are following the path of knowledge. In Hinduism, there are different modes are there, different paths are there, processes are there, by which one can realize God. Now that we are following the path of knowledge, completely different type of discussions are going on. So if we are not aware of it, we'll be wondering, how is it? They are not talking about God, they are not talking about the prayer. So that is the reason we have to understand. The path of knowledge is a completely different type of path. Here, constant remembrance of the truth. What is that truth? What is that Satya? That is Brahman. The Brahman is consciousness. Everywhere that is the consciousness. And this consciousness has been proved in three different ways. That the Vedantin, they are very much fond of telling this. The consciousness is completely different. How the consciousness comes? Because when we are awakened, we are talking with people, moving with people, and that is a different way we think. And then that we all know that we are conscious. Then when you are sleeping, at the same time, and in the sleep, when you dream, we can say mind is also there, the body and the mind. These two things, body and the mind. But where is consciousness? The third stage, when we go into deep sleep, there is the third stage. That is called Susupti. Those who are following the path of knowledge, we have to constantly remember these three stages. Jagrat, Shapna, Susupti. These three stages constantly we have to remember, and the Susupti is the proof of consciousness. Why? Because that time the physical body is completely absent because it is sleeping. And the mind is also absent because we are not dreaming. But still we are awake. How it is possible? So that it says it must be something is there, and the Vedantin proof that is consciousness. And this consciousness is all pervading everywhere. And the same consciousness which was depicted by the dualist, and they gave used the term, we should say they used the term Vishnu. Vishnu means Vistareti Vishnu. It is all pervading. And every Brahmin, to purify the body, before worshipping, they will sip the water. Water, why water? Because water is not having any form. That is the reason. Water has no form. So water means is the symbol of without form. You cannot have the form because everywhere pervading, how can you have the form? And they gave the name Vishnu, Vistareti Vishnu. It is all pervading. Dualist, they are having a God, having someone to go and pray, have something, some object to meditate. But at the same time, all Hindus, they know that the God is all pervading. And that is the reason. But the Vedantin, they will say, and you need not to take the help of any God or any duality. You better directly go to the consciousness. That is exactly what the Guru Vasishtha is asking, and he is almost lamenting, we can say. He is telling, Aho nu chitram yat satyam, Brahma tat vismritam rinam. What is the truth? Satya means truth. What is the truth? Which is constant. That is truth. Now, when we use this terminology in the Vedantic classes, that means Satya means that which is constant. What is constant? Consciousness. And what about others? Everything is changing, constantly changing. So obviously, Aho nu chitram yat satyam, Brahma. What is Satya? Brahma. Tat vismritam rinam. How the people, the vismritam, they are forgetful of that, and yad asatyam avidyam akhyam. That which is asatya, which is temporary. Avidyam, ni science, completely wrong science. The knowledge, of course, but the wrong knowledge. That you are accepting, how it is. It should not be like this. So they are constantly thinking in that way. How it is possible that one is forgetful of the truth which is there existing. And why it is? Because of the Maya. And what is this Maya? The Maya is the power of God. So this we have to understand. Actually, in reality, there is nothing in, as we call this world. But it is very difficult for ordinary people to understand how it is that there is no world. We are there, generations after generations, and we have our ancestors, and history books after books we read. There are so many incidents that are happening all around. In the past it happened, present it is happening, in the future it will, but still you say that there is no world, no existence. How it is? But it is true. When the children, they are particularly very young children, when they are playing with the dolls, they always think dolls are true. But in reality, that is their imagination. Dolls are not talking, not moving. They don't feel anything. But the children, they think that the doll is hungry and it is crying and he will be preparing the food to feed the doll. Is going on. The whole world of the child is like that. Same with us. Those who have already realized the Brahman, like Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Mahasarada, and Swami Brahmananda, and Shankaracharya, all these acharyas, when they look at us, they say, oh, why you are thinking in this way? There is nothing actually. But at this moment, we are just like those small children who are playing with the dolls. We are thinking the world is permanent, the world is there, but the Guru Vasishtha, the knower of the Brahman, he is lamenting. He is telling, oh my God, look at these people. Yad asatyam, which is not there, completely not there, avidyakyam, avidya akhyam, it has been termed as the knee science, as the wrong knowledge. You are accepting that and thinking that as true, and then whole life is wasting for that, pursuing that. So that is, they can't understand why they. So as we can't understand the children, so why they are crying for the doll. Anytime you can go to the shop and can purchase a doll, but for the child, it is a great war. So this, the Rishi then said, O Rama, remember, consciousness is Brahman, the mind is Brahman, the intellect is Brahman, Brahman alone is the substance. So he is going on repeating everything, O Rama, that you see is nothing but Brahman. And when he is telling it, he is repeating it, trying to imprint that idea, everything, that consciousness. This is a unique idea. The moment one can realize that truth, there is no desire, there is no selfishness, there is nothing like misery, because you don't want anything. When there is a desire, if that desire is not fulfilled, then you become miserable, but it is nothing like that. So obviously, Guru is telling, O Rama, this is everything is nothing but the Brahman. All indeed is Brahman. There is no world in reality. No world in reality. When ignorance is dispelled, truth is realized. Now, why we are not understanding this? Because we are under the ignorance. When the ignorance is dispelled means I understand it is actually not there. That is the main thing. Now, when we were young students, we used to think that we have to somehow go for the best result. We have to do this, we have to do that. Our guardians, our teachers, all our seniors, they were constantly telling us, you must try to achieve, try to achieve. When you grow up, then you see all around us, there are so many people, they were so successful in their studies, but they are not happy. Why? Because their desires are so much, and that was not fulfilled. So many of them are not happy. So this is the cause, and we then start understanding, realizing, analyzing to what is happening. I was successful in my study. I was having the great result in my exam. Then I was achieving all the different positions. Then afterwards, when I look at me, still I am not happy. What is the reason then? Sometimes I say, that in the present world, the most powerful position in the human society is the President of America. But if you go and ask him, sir, are you really happy? And if he is truthful, open, you'll say no. Always anxiety. To achieve that position, tremendous things that they had to do. After that, constantly worrying that I am going to lose popularity. Maybe in the next year they won't select me. So always that thing is there. Even after the retirement, that the system in America, only 2 terms you can have. That means a total 8 years. After that, what? In the first term, it is over. Then even if you are lucky, you get the second term, 8 years. Then what? We are not happy. So friends, we have to understand why we are not happy. Because our desires are not fulfilled. And what is the desire? A position. Even after achieving the position, power, name, fame, money, wealth, still we are not happy. Why? Because these are not the original source. These are a very, very temporary thing. So this we have to understand, and Rishi is telling to Sri Rama, "O Rama, remember, consciousness is Brahman. Everything is Brahman, and that you should remember." Then Sri Rama asked, this we discussed in our last discourse. The Rama asked, "Honorable Sir, how there be even an intention of diversity in the infinite consciousness? How can there be diversity? Because if it is consciousness, everything is consciousness. The mind is Brahman, and this world is Brahman, everything is Brahman. If that is so, the diversity, where from it came?" We know that Rama asked this same question in a different language before also. Because the young man, like us, he was not getting completely clear. And Brahman, or the consciousness, or this idea, unless and until one realizes it, no amount of reading or hearing can help him to understand that. So it should be realized oneself. The person should realize it, then only it is possible to understand, otherwise not. Then the Guru Vasishtha, because he was asking this question, he said, "O Rama, when you attain the vision of truth by yourself, you will understand my statement." Because the Guru was telling that the statement was everything is Brahman, everything is consciousness. There is no reality. This world that you see with so many varieties, it is not there. You are just imagining. Friends, when I am telling and you are listening, many of us, we are not convinced. As Rama was also having the doubt, many of us also having the doubt. How it is possible? Again, the reply will be, as the Guru is telling, when you attain the vision of truth by yourself, you will understand the statement, my statement, the Vasishtha statement. In this infinite consciousness itself, there is neither an intention nor the veil of delusion. There is no intention, there is no delusion. That means, when the truth is there, it is no doubt. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he mentioned in one time that if I knew this world is true, I would have covered the whole, my birthplace, that village, Kamarpukur, with gold. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he was worshipping Mother Kali, Goddess Kali, and mainly people, they know him as a dualist. He was praying to the mother, Then ultimately he realized the oneness. Then he said, whom you call Brahman, I call as Ma Kali. The Kali Puja is approaching after 2-3 days. Today is the last Sunday, and the third is the Kali Puja, 3rd November. And who is this Kali? Brahman. What is that Brahman? Consciousness. And when that consciousness is working through the power of Maya, the Prakriti, the Maya, or we can say Shatta, Raja, Tama, these three combination, permutation and combination, those activities are called Goddess Kali, the mother. But it is nothing but Brahman. So the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, whom you call Brahman, I call as Mother Kali. This way we have to understand each and every one. After the realization, they are telling the same truth. Those who know Bengali, you will enjoy the way Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna expressed it. All the jackals, they howl in the same tune. Shab Shialer Akra. That means that each and every one, whether through the dualistic process or through meditation or through unselfish work or through the path of knowledge, when you reach to the goal, is the same thing. What is that same thing? It is one. There cannot be two. So this again and again, this is harping, this is coming back to our mind that it is only one, and that one is consciousness. It has no form, it has no name. So when the Rama was doubting that if it is consciousness, then how there is the question of duality, question of name, question of form is coming. The Guru told, unless you realize yourself, you won't understand my statement. This Maya does not exist in truth. Brahman alone is the truth. So how is this world? Through Maya. Friends, again, let me remind you, we are discussing from the point of view of Vedanta. And the Vedantin, they say, and of course all the philosophy, they have to answer the creator, creation, and the relation between the creator and the creation. Now what is this creation? The dualist will say, the Lord, the God wished that I should become like this, and it became like this. So all these things God created. Even if you go to the Semitic religion, they will be telling the 7 days God took, 6 days He created, the one day, last day He took rest, etc. And the Hindus will also say the same way, that the creation is this. But among the Hindus, the Vedantin will say, the creation that you see is nothing but magic. It is not true really creation. And that is very, very important to understand. Why? If the creation is true and it is really there, then we have to accept philosophically the existence of two reality. One is God, another is creation, this world. If both are real, that means the God become finite. It cannot be infinite. Infinite means everywhere, all pervading. How can that be? Because already the God's creation, this world is there. So then you have to say the God has entered into that creation. And if He entered into that creation and become the creation, then where is God? So all this complicacy comes. So when we are asking this question, because this is really, really very interesting and very subtle to understand, this creation, Vedantin, they are in that way very perfect. And after all these people, when they all said like this, then the Vedantin come and say, no, It is actually imagination, it is not real creation. You are imagining things, and they'll be giving 101 examples. So sometimes, with your own eyes, you see that your friend is coming, and you go to talk to, hey, how are you? Then you say, oh, it is not. So you imagined a different person was coming, and you imagined because some similarity of with your friend, and you thought that it is your friend. And sometimes we imagine that man is my enemy. That place is dangerous. Like the children, and they imagine that there is a ghost in the corner of that room. It is dark, and the ghost will be there, and that way. Oh, everything is. And this imagination is so strong, they feel the ghost is there, the ghost is walking, ghost is talking, everything. Who saw the ghost? I, because I imagined like that. I wanted to see like that. This point we have to understand. This is my creation. The same person, when someone, say A, is talking with, or mixing with, or looking at, is completely different than the B. The A is always thinking it's good, it's all right. But the B will say, no, he is not all right. Both the same person, and both approaches are different. Why? My imagination. So the world that we see is my imagination, your imagination. It is ultimately imagination. So the same world looks different way. So this we have to understand. And when you go, suppose the enemy country, suppose that there is a country named A and the country named B. They are always in the loggerhead, they are always fighting. The people of the two different countries, they will also start thinking themselves, they have nothing to do. But as because the whole society or the government, all the news medias, they are going on telling they are our enemies. Though I have not visited that country, I think, oh, that is our enemy country. All people are bad. They are like this, they are like that. Not all are bad. So this is the way. With all the examples, if we close our eyes, sit quietly and imagine, there are so many things in this world all around our life that we have imagined. Then afterwards we realize, oh, it was not like that. The world is imagination. If that can happen, everything can happen in that way. O Rama, do not waste time trying to know how has this ignorance arisen. Now the Guru, he is giving the direct instruction. Don't waste your time. How this ignorance came, why it came, who created these, don't waste your time. Rather, how shall I get rid of it? Now it has come in whatever way. Now I am within this. I have to get rid of this. I have to go beyond this. So that is the way only we have to understand. And that is exactly what Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said again. I will quote him in his unique Bengali, the original language that he spoke. And he said, Aam khete eshecho, aam khao. You have come here to taste mango, eat that. Why you are wasting your time by counting how many branches of this mango tree, how many leaves are there, how many fruits are there, who is the owner? All this, why you are wasting your time by that? So since you have come over here, you have been allowed to enjoy the mango, enjoy the mango. So we have come over here, Sri Ramakrishna gave in a different way. We are here and we know that the life is nothing but suffering. We know the friends who were there in our school days, they all changed. And the college days, we don't know where they go. Then in the offices, apparently they are all friends, but they are colleagues, constantly competing for the positions. All around us, our very good neighbors or the relatives, they are changing, moods are changing, behaviors are changing. Whom I was believing that my great friend, I found, no, it is not. The more a person grow older, more that person become lonely because of this. The children cannot think. So for them the whole world is okay. But the person, more he is growing up, and more the socially he is also growing up, he become completely lonely, alone. Why? Because it is our imagination. We were thinking in this situation. Now a king, suppose, goes in a very ordinary dress and no other people around. People will think he is an ordinary person. Who is going to give the respect him as a king? King will know that I am the king, and he will expect that people should behave like to give them respect as a king, but the others won't. So how he becomes king? Because others are telling, hey, the king is coming, go away, make a way for him, he should be the first, because he is the king. So all these are created. Everything is just we are imagining, we are creating, that way it is going on. The world is also like this. Again and again, in different way, in different example from our own life. So he is telling, since you have come over here to go beyond the circle of misery, birth and death is all full of misery. You try to understand that and try to go beyond this. That will be the best way. That he is telling, O Rama, do not waste time trying to know how has this imagination or ignorance arisen. Rather try to know how shall I get rid of it. O Rama, in this world, the cause of all misfortune is only the mind which is full of sorrow and grief. Now our mind, what is this mind? The mind is the impressions of different, the thoughts that has crossed over the mind. What is the experience? Nothing but different incidents that happen, and we thought in a different way, we are experienced in a different way. All those things are engraved, maybe we can say, on the mind. And mostly it is very sorrowful. Even sometimes when you talk to the children, they'll be telling, my parents used to love my sister much more than me. Imagination. The parents were loving equally, but he or she started thinking, and that has been engraved on the mind in such a way that she or he is thinking it is like this. So this really, we should be very, very careful. What is our mind? Different impressions. If the impressions are very positive, very happy, we are happy. If the impressions are negative and a lot of experience of bad experience are there, sorrowful experiences are there, they will be those type of people will be always doubtful. They cannot believe others. So this is the mind. That's why the Guru Vasishtha is telling, O Rama, in this world the cause of all misfortune is only the mind which is full of sorrow and grief, desire and delusion, forgetful of self-knowledge. See, this is so practical. Those who have grown up. Now, if we think, really what happened? At that time, I reacted in this way, but it was nothing like that. So why it is happening like this? Because at that time, I thought this is the way things are happening, and I reacted in that way, but that was not true. It was my mistake, isn't it? There are so many incidents that have happened in our life in that way. So why I reacted? Because I thought. Why I thought? Because of the mind. the mind's impression. And those impressions, those who grow up in a very broad-minded people, the family is very happy family, very happy childhood, you will find those people are always broad-minded and happy. They try to believe others. But those who are not having that experience, when they are in their childhood days, their experience was not very good in a positive, they are always doubtful. They always criticize others. They always try to grab things. So why mind? So what is this mind? Impression. So that is why the Guru is telling what is the misery then? Misfortune. Because of the mind, which is full of sorrow and grief, desire and delusion. Why? Forgetful of self-realization or self-knowledge. Now, when we think in an ordinary way, we find that those who grew up in a very positive, happy family, they are a little in that way broad-minded and happy. But still, if the self-realization or the self-knowledge is not there, it cannot continue. So we have to understand the self-knowledge. What is the self-knowledge? This world, maybe outwardly it is very attractive, but in reality it is temporary. If we look at the most beautiful actresses and actors of our time, now they are all old, they don't like to come out. Even if they are coming out, you don't get that attraction. Now the new generation have come. So the body is changing, beauties are changing, situations are changing. When you were very much attracted to someone because of the beauty, now after 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, you don't feel that attraction. This is the common experience to each and every one. Why? Because things are changing. So if I expect that I will get joy out of that particular thing which is changing, I am going to experience the misery. So this is very clear. We need not to understand any scripture for that. This is very practical thing happening in our life all the time. And most of the people experience, those who were having the higher position in the government job or in some other places, they studied hard, they secured that job, and then when they were there, they were enjoying that popularity or the respect. After that, the retirement comes. You have to retire, and then you wonder why these people for whom I did so much, this company I worked for, say 35, 40 years, now they are asking to go away, and you have to. After the retirement, if you go back to your own office, you will find that somebody else is sitting on your own chair, and there will be no one to greet you, and there will be no place for you to go and sit. This is the common experience. Now, what we learn from this? We learn this world is temporary. And if we expect the permanent joy from this, we are going to suffer. So this is the teaching of life. If we are experiencing in this way, and this immediately we have to remember. That's why he said, the forgetful of self-knowledge. Now, when we are forgetful of the truth that this world is temporary, we will suffer. It generates desire and anger, evil thoughts and craving, which throw the person into the fire of sense objects. Sense objects. Friends, whatever we are learning from this particular scripture, Yoga Vasishtha, is a unique Vedantic scripture. So we have to understand that this Yoga Vasishtha teaching us the wonderful truth. The truth is, this world is temporary, and in reality it is not there. It is all imaginary. So why unnecessarily craving for something which is not there? So you are imagining that there is a beautiful palace in the air. So there are the clouds are there, and when you look at the clouds, it takes the beautiful form, and look at that, the castle in the air. And if you think that you should have the castle, you should have that wonderful building, it is made of only the shadows and nothing. The clouds, then they will go away. There will be nothing. The whole world is like that. The name and form and wealth and all these things are nothing but so temporary. History books, every page is teaching us the same temporariness of this world. But we learn something else. We do not learn that it is untruth. We rather learn from the history, oh, this happened, when we have to do this, we have to do that. No, the spiritual life is completely different. The spiritual life, we have to understand this is temporary. The truth is only consciousness. So let us go for the consciousness, not for these temporary things. Whatever has happened in the past, when those people, they were thinking that they should grab and they will enjoy, and if we are now thinking we should grab this world and enjoy like the huge emperor, again we are going to suffer. So this is the truth we are learning again and again. O Rama, rescue this mind from the mire of ignorance. Now the Guru is telling to his disciple, rescue this mind from the mire of ignorance. About the ignorance or maya, they call adhikari pariksha. Very interestingly, they mention the ignorance of the maya, adhikari pariksha. That means they are examining who can be a person will understand it. An ignorant one is incapable of knowing the real nature of ignorance, because before the dawn of knowledge, ignorance appears to be true. So how they are analyzing? Very clearly they are analyzing. For an ignorant person, what is the ignorance here? It's not that he doesn't know the alphabets or nothing like that. Here the ignorance means he is not having the clear idea, true idea, or the realization that this world is nothing but the consciousness and which is one. Rather, he is thinking the world is so many varieties. There's Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, very clearly he mentioned in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. In the beginning itself, he said, to know one is knowledge, to know many is ignorance. So through that we can say to know many is ignorance. And when he is ignorant, he thinks that everything is all right for me. He will be very happy. Though when we say, look at this, there's a beautiful city that you see. Before this, it was just a jungle. Nothing was here. Maybe after some time, again it will go back to that condition. No one will be here. It will be all deserted place. But still people are thinking, oh, if I can grab that land, if they are leaving, it's good. I'll be going on grabbing. But why it happens? Because ignorance appears to be true. So that is the reason when the ignorance is appearing as true, you feel like that. The wise also cannot know the real nature of ignorance, because in the eye of knowledge, ignorance has no existence. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, and with him another person is to live. He was his nephew, his relative, but the same thing they'll be looking in a completely two different way. One person wanted to donate a calf, a small little cow, to, and then Sri Ramakrishna said, what am I going to do with that? I don't need that. But the nephew, he accepted that, and he kept that animal, the cow, in one place and used to feed, thinking someday I will take that cow to my village. The cow means from the Calcutta, from the Dakshineswar to his village is a far away. In those days there was no carrier, the people used to walk. Will you take that? So Sri Ramakrishna told, when I thought how he is imagining that he will take that calf when it will grow, and then there's a cow, he will take that to the village, and then the cow will give the milk, he will drink the milk. So this imagination. So when people think in this way, that is called ignorance. But those who already they have realized the truth, they can understand this ignorance. Ignorant person cannot understand the view of the knowledge or the person who has realized, and when they say they cannot understand that, and the man of knowledge also cannot understand what the ignorant person is telling. So both are very peculiarly completely different. Same thing, but for them completely two different things. The man of knowledge cannot understand why this person is suffering for a thing which is not there. And another person who is the ignorant person is thinking why it should not be, the people should not go for that because it is there. So this, our Yoga Vasishtha is teaching us in this way. It is like experiencing darkness before light, and do not find darkness when light illumined. The darkness is there before the light. It is the knowledge. Before the knowledge, we can see this world. But when we can understand that this is nothing but the Brahman, the consciousness, then there is no world. So these two goes in a very wonderful way. The moment there is knowledge, there is no world. When we see the world, that means there is no knowledge. In this path of knowledge, one should know clearly about ignorance to avoid that. Hence the Guru Vasishtha continued describing what is ignorance. And he said, Anyat chitram yat paramam brahma tad bismitam nrinam yat mama idam avidyakhya tat pura prabalayate. The Vedanta teaches that Brahman is all-pervading, but look at the power of Maya, the ignorance. People are forgetful about the Brahman. Not only that, people accept those objects as me and mine, which in reality are not true. This is the real strange. So that the 7th chapter, 14th verse, here the Guru is telling, look at this. Mama chitram, anyat chitram yat paramam brahma tad bismitam. Anyat chitram yat paramam brahma tas bismitam nrinam yat mama idam avidyakhya tat pura prabalayate. The me and mine, mama idam, me and mine, avidyakhya, that is because of the ignorance. And why this is? Because it is truly strange that why we are not understanding the truth. So who is talking? It is the Vasishtha Muni. So obviously he was a great soul. He realized it. So after that, it was very difficult for him to understand why people are not understanding this. Sometimes some people who are very good in mathematics, they become very, we can say, agitated when the other people cannot complete or understand a mathematical problem. Why this is so simple? Can't they understand it? But it depends on the intellect. Sometimes some people are very good in some subject, other people are not. Like a painter, when he or she is painting, he knows that if this is the way we give, the shade will come, color will come, this will be. But the other people completely ignorant about that painting, for them it will be completely different. Every knowledge it is like that. If you know the cooking, it is so easy for you to cook. Those who doesn't know the cooking, if all the ingredients are there, even then they won't be able to cook. The same way, those who have not practiced the spirituality and lived with the Guru and read the scripture, pondered to understand the intricacies of that knowledge, they won't be able to understand this. When you are talking about the Yoga Vasishtha, many of the people, they will listen and they will say, oh, what they are talking about again and again. The world is there, and they say world is not there. Why not just pray to God? That's all. The God is there, God will look after us, God will take us to heaven, that's over. But they say, no, heaven is also temporary. Even if you go to the God and you live in the company of God, there may be jealousy among the devotees, because the God may favor or love someone better than you, more than you. There will be jealousy again. Then again misery. God may not be there all the time. So you may be having the same misery. Why the God is not constantly there? So even in heaven, it is not. And you are achieving the heaven. Something which we achieve as a temporariness. Because after the achieving, there's naturally a result. We performed something, and as a result we go to heaven, and it is a result is temporary. After a period of time, after some time, we may think, oh, this is all things are over, so we have to come down from the heaven. So that is why it is telling the Vedanta, Maya or ignorance is known as Aghatana Ghatana Padiyashi Maya. So Maya is creating this. Now before concluding this prakarana or the chapter, the Vasishtha Muni is like a true guru. He is giving no option but clear instruction to his disciple Sri Rama. So when the gurus are teaching, they sometimes suggest that you can do this, you can do that. Or sometimes they will say, you must do it. And there is no question. I am not going to listen to anything. So this time in the conclusion of this chapter, of this prakarana, the Guru is very clearly mentioning, Sarvam Brahma iti yasya antabhavana sa vimuktida bheda buddhi abidha yam sarvata tam parittajya. This is the 15th verse of the 7th chapter prakarana, and it concludes like this. He is telling, look my child, following the Vedic dictum or Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, and constantly think I am eternal, I am knowledge, I am bliss. You must go beyond ignorance or duality and achieve total liberation. Sarvam Brahma iti yasya antaha vavana sa vimuktida. Constantly go on thinking. Again, let me remind in conclusion, we are following the path of knowledge. And in the path of knowledge, there is no conception of God. Hence, there is no prayer. As because in the path of knowledge, the person is the supreme, So he doesn't meditate. On whom he will meditate? Or he is not working in that way, because for whom he will work? It is only the one. So only thinking, thinking and thinking. What is this thought? I am that Brahman. So that we have to understand. I am that Brahman. Go on. Bheda buddhi abhiddhayam. Thought of duality is ignorance. So it is there, that is there. If we think in this way, the Veda Buddhi, it is duality. There should not be any duality. It is only the one, sarvata tan parityajya. One must give up in whatever way. There should not be any duality. That is the reason this path of knowledge is very, very difficult. But those who can follow it, they can understand it. It is really very interesting and very effective. So ultimately, the Guru is telling to his disciple, forget about all other things. That there should not be any other question, but constantly think that you are Brahman. Thank you, friends. Let us see if there is any question.
So the first question is from Arajit. He is saying, when ignorance is dispelled, there is no desire. If there is absolutely absence of desire, isn't there no more karma? Does absolute realization makes one state of no action?
Yeah. Absolute, that is a state of no action, because the why we should do that, that's of course, you have understood it very clearly. You are that Brahman. Now, someone was trying to become the king, as an example. Now, afterwards, when he came and he was thinking that he will fight, he will do this, he will do that, so much of action. Then ultimately, when he reached to that position, people say, you are the king. Then what they will say? Oh, I am king. No action. Like that. When we are thinking this world is there, the world with so many varieties, and then I am withdrawing the mind from that world and trying to concentrate on that, then ultimately when I understand this world that I see is nothing but my imagination, I need not to be afraid of it, and this body, what I am thinking, actually the body, I am the eternal self, think of that condition. You are completely free of all action. There is no desire, and that is only peace, joy and happiness.
Devashish is asking the second question. Astrologers predict our future and they can also forecast. Is it possible for someone who has not created us to do that, or is it just a mental satisfaction? Will praying to God help us come out of their influence?
I'm not very clear about that question, about the astrologers, and the very good astrologers may say, but they are not creating. Whatever it is there, the different type of influences of the planets, it is there on individual, they can calculate a result maybe. They can say the result of that. They are not creating. But here the question is the creation and the created being. We are human being, we have name, we have form, and we see so many variety. When you see the variety, that there will be fear, and there will be anger, there will be desire, and all these sorts of things. And for that, we suffer and we enjoy a little sometimes. So to go beyond that, Debashish, to go beyond that, a path that we are following along with Guru Vasishtha is the path of knowledge. And in the path of knowledge, the Vedanta ultimately say, don't be afraid, because there is no world as such. It is only your imagination. There is only Brahman, the consciousness. Go on thinking that you are conscious. Unless and until we realize the truth, we won't be able to understand that. But we should try. Go on telling. About the prayer that you are telling, that is for the duality. Of course it is there. If the dual, that people who think that there is God, they pray. Of course, that is also a path. The same way they can reach there, as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna prayed to Ma Kali and then ultimately realized the oneness. It is also there. Thank you, friends. Let us say Shanti 3 times and we conclude. Om Shanti, 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat.